So we come up with the principle. What do we get from this research? What happens? You've heard it, but I actually think we don't do it justice. I see the Premack Principle referred to quite often by trainers, and it's dipping the toe in the water of the power of it. But I want to go, it's more than that. It's more than what we might think. I've liked the Premack Principle and tried to use it quite a bit, and I still come up with ways where I go, oh, didn't know it could apply here. Didn't know I could be more creative here. All right, so 3 different ways to describe, is it Premack's principle or the Premack Principle? We could get into a little arcane discussion about this. I think both are correct, but I'm not the judge. I'm using as my reference here, Pearson Cheney's textbook, Behavior Analysis and Learning. I'm turning my head to make sure I've got the title right. Behavior Analysis and Learning by Pearson Cheney, 2013. They call it the Premack Principle. I'm going to call it that as well. The Premack Principle. All right, what does it say? It says all these things. These are synonymous. High probability behavior reinforces low probability behavior. Likely behavior, you could say, reinforces less likely behavior. Okay, here's another way. For any pair of responses, we could say for any 2 behaviors, the more probable, the independently more probable, will reinforce the less probable. Last one. I like this one a lot. It seems trainer friendly. Reinforcement is the opportunity for your learner, your animal, your dog, your parrot, to exchange a less valued activity for a more valued one. Reinforcement is that swap. It's the shift. It's the opportunity for the animal to do something more valued than what they're currently doing. One more thing on this slide. This is not only a necessary condition, it's a sufficient condition. And what I mean by that is it's happening all the time. Every time an animal swaps out a behavior that they're currently doing for something they would more likely do, reinforcement has happened. You've reinforced the contingent behavior. You've reinforced the less probable behavior. You've made it stronger. You've made it more likely. You've changed the probability of the less probable behavior. This is both fantastic and sort of mind-bending, right? It means you're always mucking up this probability hierarchy. You're always changing it. That's what training is. That's what we do every time we train. We change probabilities. That's our bread and butter. It is exactly what trainers do. We make some behaviors more likely and other behaviors less likely. That's a good work day for us, right? One of the things that should pop out here, I'm going to make it clear. I know we're coming up to the top of the hour. We'll get a break in here soon. But I really want to emphasize this key idea, this change in concept, this change in way of looking at things. Actions reinforce other actions. Behaviors and the opportunity to behave in a probable way are what reinforce other behaviors. Things don't reinforce. Behaviors reinforce. How eloquent is that? So it's not my little cube of meatloaf that reinforces the dog for coming when I call. It's eating that reinforces coming when I call. Behaviors are reinforcers. How cool is that? It's not something coming from outside the system. It's something almost, I cannot be able to find the great quote from Premack. Maybe I'll find it on the break. He says, I'll look for the quote on our break here. The animal carries the reinforcement with them. It's inside them, this probability to behave. And by the way, there's nothing in here that says drive to behave or they have a goal to behave. We don't even need any of that. It's just likely. It's just probable. I like that a lot, right? Simplify some things. So we're going to say the key idea is that actions and the opportunity to do those actions are what's reinforcing. We're also going to say here before the break, and I'm going to say it again at the end, the question that we want to ask, I'm in this with you guys. Is this response a reinforcer for this learner right now in this moment with respect to what other response? One more time. The question isn't, is this thing a reinforcer? The question Premack is suggesting is broader. Is this response, this behavior, this activity, a reinforcer with respect to what other behavior? We're always comparing probabilities of two behaviors, and this slide reminds us of that. So you can use the standard definition of the Premack principle. High probability behavior reinforces low probability behavior.